ABC Sports, New York. Frank Gifford.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another big day of sports here on ABC. And today's coverage will begin in just a few moments with the championship finals of this week's edition of the Professional Bowlers Spring Tour. There's $95,000 of prize money at stake out in Portland, Oregon, the site of this week's tournament, and we'll be going out there in just a few moments for today's action. And then on ABC's Wide World of Sports, we'll have coverage of the WBC World Super Featherweight Championship. Cornelius Boza Edwards will make the first defense of his title against number one ranked super featherweight contender Bobby Chacon. It'll be live from Las Vegas. Edwards' record, 30-2. He's won 23 by knockout. Also on Wide World, Howard Cosell will have an update on the strike situation in Major League Baseball, and we'll talk with American League President Lee McPhail and Billy Martin concerning Martin's suspension this morning. And time permitting, we'll have coverage of the Women's National Motocross Championship from Carlsbad, California. And I'll be here throughout the day to keep you up to date on all the scores and the breaking sports stories. But let's begin our day, starting with this week's edition of the Professional Bowlers Spring Tour from Portland, Oregon.
Majestic Mount St. Helens never really feels the effects of the summer's hot sunshine as snow covers the summit the year around. A year ago, May 18th, this giant erupted and threw its volcanic ash across the state. But in most cases, Mother Nature has made a remarkable recovery, and a stand of fir trees once again dominates the countryside. 50 miles from the mountain and situated on the Willamette River lies the city of Portland, also known as the City of Roses, and the site of the $95,000 City of Roses Open, a tournament won in the past by many of the top PBA professionals. In the inaugural Portland event in 1963, Darrell Lee Cox was the winner. First prize was $3,000. In 1966, Don Johnson won his second of 26 tour victories. Earl Anthony, bowling's all-time leading money winner and title holder, was the tournament winner in 1972. The next year, Hall of Famer Dave Sutar made Portland one of his 15 career triumphs. Mark Roth became the tournament's only two-time winner with victories in 1978 and 79. And finally last year, colorful Ernie Schlegel came out on top. Live. ABC Sports presents the Professional Bowlers Spring Tour. Today it's the championship round at the City of Roses Open, where these five bowlers will vie for the $12,000 top prize. In fifth place, seeking to continue the success he enjoyed on the PBA's Winter Tour this year, flamboyant Marshall Holman. In fourth place, coming off his best winter tour ever, but still seeking that first trip to the winner's circle, Jeff Moran. In third place, also looking for his first PBA victory, from Beaumont, Texas, Mark Williams. In second place, from Somerset, Massachusetts, looking to end a four-year victory drought, Paul Moser. And the tournament leader from Chicago, the holder of 2 PBA titles, Bill Spigner. They not only grow them here, but they celebrate the rose in Portland, Oregon annually, and they have since the early 1900s. Today we're at the $95,000, the finals of the City of Roses Open. I'm Chris Schenkel, delighted to be back here in the Pacific Northwest. It's a beautiful area with a lot of beautiful people. My colleague Nelson Burton Jr. loves the spectacular Pacific Northwest, and earlier we showed you a shot of Mount St. Helens. Quite a spot, Bo.
Yes, it is, Chris. It's beautiful out here. And, you know, last year they had the eruption of Mount St. Helens, and it had a big effect on the tournament. The lanes were very dry as volcanic ash set in this area, and the ball hooked quite a bit. Ernie Schlegel conquered the field with a lot of speed and a real hard, straight ball. But things have changed in the last 12 months. They've cleaned up the ash a lot. The lanes are very slick, very low friction, and Bill Spigner has found the key to the number one spot this year with just a minimum speed, the slowest speed I've seen in about 3 or 4 years for a tournament leader, and he could be very tough.
Can the other four find the keys to victory?
Well, I think the key, Chris, is going to be making the spares. They haven't had real high scores, but the matches have been close. Spigner's been very tough. I think the tournament leader has won 10 times so far this year. Spigner could make it 11.
Bo, keep smelling the roses along the way, will you?
All right, Chris, thank you.
Okay. Nelson Burton Jr. So the finals coming up, the $95,000 City of Roses Open. And the purse is broken down in this way. $12,000 to the winner, $7,000, $5,000, $4,500, and $4,000. Stay tuned for live coverage of the first match. Marshall Holman of Oregon goes against Jeff Moran.
I can tell a real cowboy from the drugstore kind clean across Texas. The way he wears his hat will tell you. And the beer that you drink's a surefire giveaway, too. A lot of us drink light beer from Miller. We love the taste, but we surely appreciate that it's got a third less calories than the regular kind. You see, you don't want to be filled up when you're out there punching doggies. Ain't that right, cowboy?
I didn't punch that doggie.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
When I'm playing ball, I don't care how much I sweat. It's part of the game.
Oh, rap.
But off the field, I want to feel nice and dry, and I want to smell nice. That's why I use Speed Stick Super Dry Antiperspirant. It's the wide stick, effective protection with more dryness to help fight wetness. And it goes on dry so you can get dressed right away. So get on the stick, the wide stick.
Speed Stick Super Dry Antiperspirant by Bennett.
This is clear, solid lucite. Tough, durable, made by DuPont to last. Wouldn't it be great if a paint gave you this? Lucite House Paint does. The same basic ingredient in solid lucite is a key ingredient in liquid lucite. So it's tough, durable, made to resist peeling and cracking, made to last. Lucite, a long-lasting paint based on a solid idea from DuPont. Now save $3 to $5 or more on lucite at participating stores.
So here at Timber Lanes, we're ready for the first match. Portland, Oregon from Medford, Oregon. Shooting first here, and our first match today is Marshall Holman, a great champion. The man that can incite a crowd, and of course here he'll have favorable reaction because it's his home state. Gets mixed reactions throughout the country, but many great champions have that. Now Jeff Moran, who is looking for his first victory ever, shooting on the right lane. So the 6'3" professional bowler from Cleveland, Ohio, oldest in the field at 35, evens it up, Nelson.
Chris, this is a rematch of the first set we had in Alameda during the winter tour, where Jeff Moran had a couple of crossover shots and beat Marshall Holman. So Holman's out for revenge, and he's in his own hometown, but Moran has been very tough all week.
On this championship pair, he averaged 221, Holman 197. Oh, he loved the crossover. And a double. We asked Jeff earlier about the corrective lenses made to aid his bowling.
Special glasses made to aid my vision, and it gives me more lines and angles I can make, and it's opened up my perspective of the game and allows me to bowl better.
Jeff Moran, Holman up. That one didn't come up. Disappointed Marshall, of course, on the right lane. So he left the 1, 2, 4, and he'll have to shoot that, hopefully to make a spare.
On the championship pair, 33 and 34 here at Timber Lanes. The left-hand lane, 33, hooks a little more than the right-hand lane, just the lane characteristic.
All right, just a perfect shooting of the 1, 2, 4 spare on the right lane here at Timber Lanes. A beautiful establishment of 48 lanes, and in the Portland area. PBA has visited it now for the 19th time. This is our second event on the spring tour of 5 championships. Leaving a 4-pin on the left lane.
Chris, you can see the left-hand lane breaking just a little bit more. Marshall going high through the first one a little harder on the left-hand lane. It's set. The right-hand lane, you have to use a little less speed.
Marshall Holman, second leading money winner as you look at the averages in 1981 this week, and on the championship pairs we indicated. Marshall has earned $91,875. Earl Anthony, the number 1 spot at $116,000. Incidentally, Earl finished 8th here in the City of Roses Open. Mark Roth finished 10th. Now Jeff Moran, who has a double working for him. Now the 3rd frame. Jeff, 2 regional titles, winning in Marion, Ohio, and also in Port Huron, Michigan.
Jeff taking advantage of that crossover strike in the second frame. Very similar to what he did to Holman and Alameda, but to make it count is so important. The key on the left-hand lane is to stand a little farther to the left in the center, a little more speed.
And the guy that bends way forward didn't like that head pin hit at all, leaving the 3-6-10.
Jeff likes the tighter lanes we had, the higher friction, lower surface friction here, Chris, and he likes to go straighter down with the ball. The left-hand lane here may give him a little trouble.
It's one way you bowlers adjust. There are several ways, aren't there?
You can either move to the left, use a harder ball, or throw it hard.
All right. Moran marking with a spare after 3 in a row. We'll return to the Timber Lanes in Portland, Oregon, live after this.
The new world car, Ford Escort.
It's America's only station wagon with four-wheel independent suspension.
You can see the suspension absorb the bumps to help smooth the ride, and it grips the road tightly.
Escort also has the highest estimated MPG of any American-built wagon, and it's outselling every other wagon, foreign or domestic. The front-wheel drive Ford Escort, built in America to take on the world.
And doing it.
Introducing the Cutter, Black & Decker's most powerful string trimmer yet. The Cutter powers through grass, powers through weeds. And with the Cutter's command feed, just the touch of a button keeps the string at its most powerful cutting length. The Cutter, with command feed from Black & Decker, it can cut the time of trimming your yard.
Next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, Cornelius Boza Edwards defends his WBC World Super Featherweight title against the #1 contender and former WBC Featherweight champion Bobby Chacon. Plus, women compete in one of the most demanding motorsports in America. It's the U.S. Women's Motocross Motorcycle Championship. Next on ABC.
18-year-old Pete Weber. He's the alternate, and right behind him, his dad, the Hall of Famer Dick Weber. Pete, who had a game of 299 and also a 290 this week, was the first round leader. Now you're looking at Marshall Holman. A strike and 2 spares, 4th frame. All right, strike now in the 4th. We talked earlier to Marshall about how he feels to have the home state rooters behind him.
Well, I have traveled around the country. I have had problems with some hecklers. They have interrupted my concentration at times. It's nice to be bowling my home state. The people have been behind me and looking to take this tournament.
Well, he averted the split, left the 4-7. And it does mean a lot to Marshall to have the rooters behind him. He's very sensitive, 26-year-old champion. He has 14 championships in 8 years as a PBA member. 3 wins this year. Spare in the 5th frame. Marshall Holman here in Portland, Oregon. His home of Medford, Oregon is about 180 miles from Portland, where we are today. Powerful strike. Jeff Moran, 6'3", 170. Here's a replay of the profile.
Jeff Moran with the unorthodox style, but he has everything in good position. A locked elbow, good high arm swing, and good wrist action at the line. He gets farther through the ball than he used to do. He used to cut his arm swing very short. Now he gets more lift. As a result, more money out here on the tour.
16,000 this year. He could win 12 today if he can go all the way. Nearly stuck at the line, leaving the 3-6-10. Nearly went across the foul line.
You can see the sharp break of his ball as it hits down in the track area about 15 feet from the 1-3 pocket. Makes that abrupt move to the left. Marshall Holman is adjusted to it by moving to the extreme left on that lane and throwing much harder. So Marshall seems to be zeroed on both lanes. Jeff Moran still struggling on the left.
So in Portland, the city of roses, Moran with a strike, or a spare rather, in the 6th frame. And he has an 18-pin lead. Now that can be cut by some we can get Holman to begin striking here. Wasn't his release a little different there, Bo? He sort of bounced it out.
Chris, something you don't see Holman do very often is lose the ball at the bottom of his hand. It slides by, leaving the 2-4-10. And Holman, if he had got the proper lift on that ball, would have made the ball finish in the pocket for a light hit. As a result, he's got the 2-4-10. He's going to go a little extra speed, cross lane, try to slide the 2-pin into the 10.
Nope, got too much of the 2. So it's an open frame for Marshall Holman in frame number 6. And now Holman trails by 32 as we replay a profile shot.
Here's that last shot. Marshall with that low profile gets to the line. It does not get the ball over the line. See it rolling right at the foul line. An excellent shot. Marshall usually about 18 inches over the line with the ball.
And he comes up with a high hit and his second split. This is the 6-7-10.
Marshall seems to have lost it just a little bit. He not the usual aggressive self out there, and possible 2 open frames here in a row to give Marin an almost insurmountable lead.
Oh, he should have had it. Went for it, and it's back-to-back open frames. Trailing now by 43 pins. Jeff Morin is the leader in our first game.
And all the time I've been hauling new cars, I've never seen anything like it. Quaker State's new lifetime engine lubrication protection program. Use Quaker State, and you can get protection that guarantees your new car engine against oil-related failure. The engine, as long as you own it, in writing. It's guaranteed by Quaker State. The quality motor oil. Refined from Pennsylvania-grade crude oil.
New car or old, you'll be staying on the road with Quaker State.
At Portugal, the gasoline is $3.34 a gallon. And the best-selling spark plug, Champion, eh?
In Singapore, where gasoline is $1.70 a gallon, Champion is #1.
In Italia, we pay $3.42 for a gallon of gas. And Champion is numero uno.
Champions are #1 in the USA, too. And a tune-up with Champions can save an average of 1 to 2 gallons per tank full.
Save with Champion spark plugs, the world's #1 seller.
Next week, the pros travel to Seattle for the 3rd stop on the Professional Bowler Spring Tour, the $90,000 Seattle Open, where hometown favorite Dave Beckman will be on hand to defend his title. That's next Saturday, live at 3:30 Eastern Time on ABC.
We're live at the Timber Lanes, Portland, Oregon. Jeff Morin leading by 43 against Marshall Holman. Well, he averted that split situation, leaving the 6-10.
We've seen some quick turnarounds in the tournament this week with the lanes not being very high scoring. A player can get 1 or 2 opens very quickly, like Marshall Holman, and a double or turkey can change the match all around. So you always got to be careful. But again, we said the key is filling those frames, making the spares.
Cross lane, picking the ball return, continuing to mark clean all the way through while Holman has 2 open frames in back-to-back. In the City of Roses Open, these were the round leaders. Weber, Hanley, Anthony, and Spigner, our tournament leader, leading the last 3. So after 42 games, we have 5 finalists here. This is our first game. The winner to meet Mark Williams of Beaumont, Texas. Then Paul Moser, and then Bill Spigner. And the 4-7.
Jeff's getting closer on the left-hand lane. He keeps making the move to the left with his feet. He moved over 3 boards so far as the game has progressed. And when you're right around the 4-pin like that, you're within a board or half a board. So with just another slight adjustment and another good shot, he should be solid in the pocket. If he covers the spare, he'll lead the match.
Eighth frame spare for 35-year-old Jeff Morin. Marshall Holman using the full approach on the right lane. And almost disbelief as we replay that shot.
Right through the nose. It looks like Marshall's going to have the 4-6-10 split. 4-pin goes to sideboard and wipes out the 6-10. But Chris, more importantly, it gives him a chance to still win the match. Marshall can still shoot 204. That would force Marin to mark out. Needs this strike to stay in the match, though.
And that pesky 4-pin that helped him in the last frame is his downfall here in the 9th frame.
Marshall not taking much time at all.
Marshall has 134 through 8 with a spare up in the 9th. Moran now 153 through 7. Spare working in the 8th, shooting in the 9th, and a 39-pin lead. Didn't come up. 1, 2, 4, 8.
Moran in the driver's seat is going at a 209 pace if he can make this spare. The best Holman can do is 184, so it looks like Moran's going to go on to meet a great young player that we haven't seen on a tour, Mark Williams. Exciting young player with a great game. Good arm swing and a good temperament.
All right, with that spare in the 9th frame, Jeff Moran, who led right from the start as he opened with a 3-bagger and then marked with a spare. And he's going against one of the all-time greats, Marshall Holman, who had won 3 events this year, second in money earned. But Marshall will have to be satisfied with $4,000 today. Six-pin.
Jeff Moran is going to get a free shot here, Chris. If he can make the spare, he has one shot to just in this fill ball in the 11th frame to try a different line on lane 33 before he goes on to the next match against Mark Williams.
So we do have a winner, and it is Jeff Moran. He'll be over the 200 mark, so that means he'll go against Mark Williams. Let's pause a few moments to hear these messages from the people who bring you this stop.
The Professional Bowler Spring Tour. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer, who invite you to test drive the 1981 Ford cars and trucks. By Speed Stick Solid Deodorant from Menon, the deodorant that gives you solid protection against odor, no wetness, no waste. Speed Stick Deodorant by Menon. And by American Airlines. We're American Airlines, doing what we do best.
Capacity crowd here at Timber Lanes as Jeff Moran with 5 strikes shoots a 208 in victory over Marshall Holman, who is completing the game. It'll be Mark Williams, the next opponent for Moran.
We know you're serious about saving money. That's why American Airlines invented Amerifares. And right now, American can fly you anywhere we fly in the continental United States for $179 or less. And you'll get the service that has made us the #1 choice for domestic travel. Super savings and super service. That's some combination.
We're American Airlines, doing what we do best.
You know, one of the best things about coming to America was that I got to try American beers, and I tried them all. The one I like best, light beer from Miller. It's got a third less calories than the regular beer. It's less filling, and it really tastes great. That's why I tell my friends from Mexico, when you come to America, drink light beer, but don't drink the water.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Sunday, Lou Gossett is Satchel Paige. He reached his goal and didn't look back.
Hey, Anderson!
Willie Hacker! Huh.
Wow, business must be good.
That's telemarketing.
Tell what?
Telemarketing handles all our smaller accounts faster and cheaper by long distance.
You don't travel?
Not much. We're doing on the phone what you do on the road.
Well, you can teach an old dog new tricks. Oh, gotta fetch a plane.
Long distance, the low-cost way to get things done today.
Better performance, greater mileage, longer life for your car, my car, Star's cars, all our cars. A freewheeling half hour geared to help you take better care of your automobile. You'll visit interesting places, laugh with Hollywood celebrities as you learn to do it yourself on Car Care Central.
This Sunday afternoon at 1 here on KOBI.
You're watching KOBI 5M Medford.
Here in Portland, Oregon, Jeff Morin of Cleveland, Ohio, has defeated Marshall Holman of Medford, Oregon, 208 to 172. Now stepping in at 23 years of age is Mark Williams, looking for his first win. He's been a professional for 2 years, 6'1", 175 pounds. Jeff Morin winning the first game 208 to 172, 5 strikes, 3 of them coming in the first 3 frames of his win over Holman. High hit, and it's the 310.
Chris, remember we said there's 3 adjustments the player can make to compensate for lane hooking more. Move to the left, more speed, or a harder ball. Now, Morin has tried 2 of those. He hasn't tried the harder ball yet. So he's still going high. He's going to have to do something a little different if he's going to stay with that bowling ball he's using now.
So the man that moved from 112th after Wednesday's round to the number 4 spot has an open frame. Now, first time ever on our Professional Bowlers Tour telecast, Mark Williams of Beaumont, Texas. He's won $1,150 thus far this year. Oh, showing a lot of style. We asked him earlier about his good start in his rookie year, and here in 1981, it's been much slower.
Well, I had a pretty good rookie year, but this winter has really been bad, so I went home and made some specific changes in my approach, especially the starting position, more bending over at the waist, which keeps my arm swing in line. And eliminating my arm swing from going behind my back keeps more shots in the pocket and get a lot more strikes.
Well, on this championship pair, 33 and 34, he had a 255 average, and apparently likes it because he has opened with a double here in our second game going against Jeff Morin, who had an open frame. He is now shooting in the second. Good adjustment, good recovery by Jeff Morin of Cleveland, Ohio. There you see the crowd, all ages, just like the people that participate in the annual Portland Rose Show and Rose Festival. Every year, the second week in June, 40 sporting events and musical events are all part of the 10-day celebration. Sorry we came 2 weeks early.
Chris, let's see if Morin can conquer this left lane. If he's going on the title, he has to hit this lane. He's just been all over that 1-2 pocket. He cannot seem to give it room. Sometimes that's psychological. You figure if you throw it out too wide, it's not going to come back. And the fear of missing the head pins often cause you to quit on the ball or throw it too slow.
Very little expression on the 23-year-old's face. At 35 years of age, Morin. And he finds it. 29 to the second to spare up, and now with the double and leading by 21, shooting in the third frame, Mark Williams. A 4-pin.
Before we went on the air, Mark Williams said he could play both the lanes just about the same. He said he was only giving the left-hand lane about a board more room or a hook with his bowling ball, so he should have probably the best shot of the 5 players on there today.
Like Holman, uses all of the approach. So from the side now, let's get a better look at Mark Williams and his style.
Here's the changes he's made. See how his shoulders are farther forward. He's pushing that ball away directly at his target and not getting it behind his back. There it is, right in line with his target. A good swing, a good follow through. He had a 4-pin on that shot, but he's keeping it around the pocket. He leads by 20 pins, 4th frame.
His right heel is actually off the approach. Another 4-pin, this time on the left side.
You can see his ball kind of settling in the pocket, not like Morin's, whose ball is breaking very sharply across the lane. Williams is using more of a line shot, less hook, and straighter in the pocket seems to be the best way to hit this pair of lanes.
Mark Williams has a 19-pin lead here in our second game. We're live in Portland. We'll return after this.
When I'm playing ball, I don't care how much I sweat. It's part of the game. Oh, rap.
But off the field, I want to feel nice and dry, and I want to smell nice. That's why I use Speed Stick Super Dry Antiperspirant. It's the wide stick. Effective protection with more dryness to help fight wetness. And it goes on dry, so you can get dressed right away. So get on the stick. The wide stick.
Speed Stick Super Dry Antiperspirant by Bennett.
Your razor is the height of technology. But what about your aerosol foam? Today, the Rise Supergel era begins. Introducing U-Rise Supergel. It's unlike any foam. It has a special lanolin gel formula that lubricates better than the leading foam. Get U-Rise Supergel for a super close, super smooth shave that helps protect against irritation. Today, the Rise Supergel era begins.
Tomorrow, outdoor adventure begins with the American Sportsman. Then on ABC's Wide World of Sports, top international racers on the Grand Prix circuit roar through the winding streets of Monte Carlo. It's the Grand Prix of Monaco via satellite from Monte Carlo. Plus, daring divers descend from unparalleled heights in the World Invitational High Diving Championship from San Diego, California. All tomorrow on ABC Sports.
That's Jeff Moran drying his hand over the blower on the ball return, and he'll be shooting on the right lane. He has a spare up. It's the fourth frame. Jeff defeated Marshall Holman 208 to 172 in our first game. Now that did come up.
Moran seems all right on the right-hand lane as you saw his ball come in there and just saw the 5 right out into the 7. That's his best shot, but he has to make the adjustment on the left-hand lane. A little more speed, a little deeper on the lane. He cannot afford to get away with the shots he got away with against Holman. Sooner or later, you have to pay for the bad shots.
Paul Moser and Bill Spigner warming him up to the right. Well, he comes up with a double now here in the second game, going out to a 29-pin lead.
Moran just jams the ball right in the pocket, drives the 4-7 straight back. Almost left the 4-pin. See the 2-pin driving out the 4-7. Dangerously high, but he accomplished his point.
Williams. Nice shot for Williams, his third strike.
Well, he's Mr. Cool out there for his first time on the air, Chris. You see, he's been around the pocket on every shot and really threw a power ball there in the 5th frame. Leads by 9, can extend that lead back out to 19.
Although you've been high on him in his rookie year, he did a super job.
Well, he had a disappointing winter. He only won $100. He went home and he won $1,000 last week, so he's doing much better.
And during the break, and when not on the tour, he bowls as many as 150 games. That's a lot of games.
Well, you can't beat practice. Players get good by practicing, and if they come out here on the tour and they think they're going to stay good by not practicing, that's definitely a fallacy. You have to do the same things that got you there, and one of those is practice.
Now Moran with a double up, trailing by 19. No, leaving the 1-2-4-10.
A shot that we've seen a lot of this week. We said the lanes are much slicker and the ball is not hooking as much. When you get wide, it slides right on by. There's no help in the back end. It's all what you did to the ball. The shot here is trying to cross over, hit between the 1 and 2, drive the head pin into the 10 pin.
And he missed it. He had an open frame in the first. Now here in the 6th, there's another open frame. Don't forget the premiere of ABC's Monday Night Baseball, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, 6:30 Pacific. George Steinbrenner's New York Yankees going against popular Cleveland Indians in one game in the Montreal Expos at St. Louis. Well, your Cardinals are in action.
They look great this year. They are really a viable contender.
10 pin. The winner of this match will meet a left-hander named Paul Moser of Somerset, Massachusetts. The winner of that semifinal game will go against the tournament leader, Bill Spigner, now bowling out of Chicago.
Jeff Moore going at a 181 pace if he converts this. Williams at a 218 pace.
All right, a spare in the 7th, leading by 37, is young Mark Williams on the right. We'll return after this.
We drink Dr. Pepper, don't you know? And the taste is making peppers everywhere we go. I'm a pepper, she's a pepper, we're a pepper. What's a pepper? Wouldn't you like to be a pepper too? The taste is gonna knock you out. The more you drink, the more you want to shout. I'm a pepper. Wouldn't you like to be a pepper too? Be a pepper, drink Dr. Pepper. Yeah, be a pepper.
We're here with the premier of Vlastovia at this typical American farm where he's taking a tour today, and he's asking about the farmer's pickup. The interpreter tells him that it's an 81 Ford. The premier wants to drive the Ford.
Yes, it's how good as gas mileage.
Well, Ford is the only pickup with estimated MPG this high and 2,500 pounds payload.
Fresco.
What?
He says your American roads are rough.
Well, Fords are built tough. How do you like the Ford, Mr. Premier?
He's like my wife. Tough. But very good looking.
Get a deal now that can save you hundreds because of Ford's cash incentives to Ford dealers.
Next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, Cornelius Boza Edwards defends his WBC World Super Featherweight title against the #1 contender and former WBC Featherweight champion Bobby Chacon. Plus, women compete in one of the most demanding motorsports in America. It's the U.S. Women's Motocross Motorcycle Championship. Next on ABC.
33-year-old Paul Moser, who finished 2nd overall in this tournament, warming up, waiting to meet the winner of our second match, which is now underway. And in the lead, the young man who opened with a double, 2 spares, doubled again, now shooting in the 7th frame, leading by 37. Mark Williams, Beaumont, Texas. So his triple now gives him a little more cushion. Out to a 47-pin lead as you see it as we replay the strike shot.
Boy, does he look sharp. And watch this ball drive into the 1-3 and just saw that 5-pin right out of there over towards the 7. The ideal strike for the pro player. Bingo, there it is. Can't do it any better. This young man looks very tough. He's making these lanes look extremely easy. Leads by 47, can extend to 57 through 8 with another strike.
Mark Williams of Beaumont, a product of bowling's junior leagues. Really stringing them now with 4s. Jeff Moran is back up and sort of in a helpless situation after winning the first game. Shooting in the 8th now, a spare working. And a high hit and a 310.
Jeff's going to have a chance to practice some of his spares, but only for 3 more frames here, Chris, because this young Mark Williams really looks good. Moran right through the nose leaves a 310 split, but it's almost academic at this point because Williams is red hot.
Still not being able to conquer or convert the 310 split, which he had in the first frame, and now again here in the 8th. And Williams, Beaumont, Texas, has a 70-pin lead.
The City of Roses Open, 192 players went to the starting gate Tuesday morning. 42 games later, we're down to the top 5 in the championship round.
Another high hit, and would you believe it? Another 310.
Oh, he's acting like a true pro, Chris. If you miss a putt or something, you get the ball, you come back and try to putt it again. Well, Jeff's going to try to prove that he can make this 310 split.
And has a sense of humor. The odds for a professional making it are 2 to 1.
If he doesn't make it this time, he's going to drive those odds up a little bit, though.
Well, keep practicing. Standing room only crowd, and we expect the same in Seattle, Washington, a week from today for the finals of the Seattle Open. And then June 13th, the Pennzoil Open, a week off because of the United States Open Golf, and we're back in Las Vegas for the PBA doubles.
Mark Williams with the match well in hand, leading by 70 pins going into that shot. He's going on to meet Paul Moser in our semifinal match. Moser, the high left-hander. Earl Anthony was right up there, but struggled in the last few games, losing all 4 and just missing the championship round.
Consistently and smoothly, Mark Williams is marked with a spare in the 9th frame. And he's leading by 68, so that means he's going to win this, and Paul Moser, the left-hander, will be his opponent. That match will get underway after this.
It started these 5 cars all at once. These cars were left in Yankee Stadium with their lights on. It batted 1,000. The Sears Die Hard, now with even more power to start your car than ever before. And from the people who brought you the battery you can count on comes the muffler you can count on. Muzzler, the aluminized muffler that's only $19.99 installed. For the power you can count on, for the price you can count on Sears.
Hi.
Yes?
I'd like a Weed Eater brand trimmer.
Now, how about a lawn womper?
No, a Weed Eater brand.
A Grass Smasher 200? No. A turf chopper?
For quality and dependability, more people count on Weed Eater trimmers than any other brand. So be sure the gas or electric trimmer you get is the one you really want.
One that matches your eyes. One that glows in the dark. Wait! How about a Weed Eater brand trimmer? You know, if it doesn't say Weed Eater, it's just another trimmer.
I know.
Here comes Johnny Rutherford. 3-time Indy 500 winner. To protect that engine at blazing speed, he runs with Pennzoil. Johnny's wife, Betty. She uses Pennzoil, too. But she uses Pennzoil's regular-priced, gas-saving multi-weight oil. Pennzoil. For cars like Johnny's and Betty's and yours. Gas-saving Pennzoil. Quality in every extra mile.
At Timber Lanes in Portland, Oregon, Mark Williams comes off the bench and defeats Jeff Moran 234 to 166. So a non-winner, Mark Williams, at 23 years of age, now goes against Paul Moser, who has won 2 PBA titles. While our next 2 bowlers continue the warm-ups, let's take a brief moment to look at an important component on the Pro Tour, the hands. Well, we won't look at the hands right now, but you're seeing the 234 to 166 win by Mark Williams. This is our second stop on the PBA Spring Tour. As we indicated, next week it is Seattle, Washington. And we're in Portland. As we look at the leading money winners on the tour, we indicated that Marshall Holman, who was defeated in the first game, was second behind Earl Anthony. Anthony finishing 8th this week, and Bo, that's a total, $116,000. And we're in May.
Well, the money's really good out here in the tour, and you saw Wayne Webb out there who was in 4th. He had the low game of the week. He bowled a disastrous 105 this week, which was the low game for all the pros, but naturally he'll be back in contention at the Seattle Open next week.
So, in our third match in our live coverage from the Timber Lanes in Portland, Oregon, it's going to be Mark Williams going against, well, the young man that's built closest to the lanes of them all at 5 feet 4 inches, Paul Moser from Somerset, Massachusetts. And Paul in the striped shirt, wearing all green, ready to shoot, preparing very carefully, drawing that ball in his hands. And he's the only left-hander in our field today.
Really looked strong last night, Chris. Aggressive and strong. I think he's ready to win.
So he's a strong 33-year-old, and he left the 6'10" on the left lane.
Built like a fire plug. He does a lot of ice skating, and it keeps those legs real strong. He has a very strong upper body for a short man, so he can handle that ball and handle those pins.
Although he hasn't won in 4 years, he is making his third appearance on our telecast here in 1981. Finished 4th successive weeks. Rolaids Open and the AMF Magic Score Open. All right, with 6 strikes in the last game, Mark Williams, at whom you're looking, shot a 234 to Jeff Moran's 166. First shot, semifinal game. All right, he left the 10 pin on the right lane.
The first real tap we've had anybody have today. He just up there solid, and a 6-pin laid right in the channel. And there's a interesting graphic. He earned only $100 on the winter tour. He went home after Kansas City, asked a fellow pro, Art Trask, to work with him and help his game. Art's done a fine job. Mark Williams is putting his tutelage to work out on the lanes.
You have to be impressed with the smoothness of 23-year-old Mark Williams. Cross lane, covering the 10-pin with ease.
He's got all the shots, Chris. He's using that nice hook ball for the first ball, and he flattened it out or threw a straight shot to convert the 10-pin. Good coaching. He's started in the junior leagues and definitely showing up here in the pro ranks.
6'1", 175 pounds. And his young man, Bo, that doesn't hurt our television ratings, because when he's not bowling, his favorite pastime is watching all the other sports on television.
Watch him shoot this 10-pin. Moves to the extreme left, but he kills the ball or flattens it out. That means he lets his wrist down so it doesn't break through underneath the ball and rolls straight up behind with his fingers. Nice shot.
Pair of spares for Mark Williams in our semifinal game. The winner of this game, if you just joined us, will meet the tournament leader, Bill Spigner, who will be very difficult to beat as they battle for the $12,000 first prize. And if you just joined us, Jeff Moran defeated Marshall Holman in the first game, 208 to 172. Then the last game, Williams over Moran, 234 to 166. Debbie Moser watching.
Debbie Moser, who helps Paul quite a bit as they travel around the tour together, has a 170 league average herself, so she knows a little bit about the game. Paul with a 5-10 split. The ball just not biting hard enough at the back end. Ball doesn't get a piece of the 5-pin. There's the split.
Well, it's an open frame for the veteran, Paul Moser. We asked him earlier, before competition got underway, why he had not won in 4 years.
Well, it's been 4 years since I've won. I finished second 5 times. I bowled bad in some matches and lost, and I bowled real good in matches and had tremendously bad luck. And I think the tide's turned, and I'm ready to win.
Okay. Confidence shown there verbally.
The key to him winning, Chris, is getting the ball out over the foul line. You noticed he laid that last one short, rolled to the foul line, did not get the strike power.
So 3 frames, 1 strike. Debbie Moser watching.
Gets this ball out over the line a little bit more and gets the wall shot. Watch the head pin go to the sideboard and take out the 5, 6, and 10. There it goes. There's the 5, the 6, and the 10 all at once. Williams, 2 weak 10s in his first 2 shots. 19 the first, spare in the second. Leads by 12.
That's what he tried to avoid all week, hitting the head pin, and here in the 4th frame he did just that, leaving 6-10.
Well, you don't want to throw it too wide when the lanes are what we call a little slick or not as much swing area, so he's kept it crowded around the head pin. You don't want to get out there and leave the washout like Moran did last game and open up the lane for your opponent.
Very impressive shooting spares. Mark Williams, who had 6 strikes in his win over Jeff Moran, shooting a 234, and has a lead here in the semifinal game.
By the luck of the draw, 33 and 34 has been a very fortuitous pair for Mark Williams. He averaged 255 on this pair of lanes during the tournament, had an excellent first game, and is clean through 3 frames this game.
Leaving a 4-pin, and as you saw, Mark has won a little over $1,100 thus far this year. But today, well, he's assured at least $5,000, because the loser of this game will get 5. The loser of the championship game, head-to-head competition, $7,500. The winner, $12,000. 4-pin. From the city on the Willamette River, Portland, Oregon, we're going to leave momentarily to return with more of this 3rd game.
There's Dan and Ellen Fields. He's editor of our local newspaper. He looks worried about his problem dandruff. I wish he'd ask me.
Mr. Owens, what shampoo should Dan use for his problem dandruff?
Ellen, how about Tegrin?
It works on itching and flaking?
In a national survey, 3 out of 4 dermatologists judge Tegrin's medication effective in fighting even problem dandruff.
Let's try it out.
How's Dan's problem dandruff?
Tegrin's terrific news, Mr. Owens.
Prove it to yourself. Tegrin works.
When you buy your family insurance, you're buying more than just coverage. You're paying for service, too. State Farm agents make sure you get that service. If you have a question or a claim, you call us. Life, health, homeowners, or car insurance. When we give you personal service, we're not doing you a favor. We're doing our job.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Personal service. That's what State Farm agents are all about.
The premiere of ABC's Monday Night Baseball swings into action as divisional rivals clash. The Yankees take on the Indians, and the Expos challenge the Cardinals. Monday on ABC.
We're back again. Timber Lanes, Portland, Oregon. You're looking at 5'4", 155-pound, 33-year-old Paul Moser from New England. He's ready to shoot in the 4th frame, trailing by 9 pins. Overall, in the field of 192, he finished 2nd. So he's going against Mark Williams, who won his only game against Jeff Morin. Strike working.
Bad shot. Get over.
Oh, the crossover gets him a 1-pin lead. Paul Moser leads by 1. Let's go to Bo Burton.
Thank you, Chris. And with me is Barbara Spigner, wife of the tournament leader, Bill. And Barb, it's been 3 years since Bill's been in the winner's circle. Do you think there's any extra pressure on him today?
There's a little extra pressure, but Billy's really good under pressure. He needed a double last year when he was on TV at Firestone and got it. So he's bowling good. I'm confident. I hope he is.
You're expecting your first baby in August. How's that going to affect your tour plans?
Well, I am now touring with Bill, and this is my first tournament out there with him. Did pretty good. I hope it continues. I think it'll help us. I really do.
Bill Spigner has extra incentive, Chris. New baby in August, and he's the tournament leader.
Okay. And there are plenty of reasons why Paul Moser would like to deny him that, because Paul has not won in 4 years. Leading by 1. Nice job, southpaw, tough spare. Shooting the 4-7. And his wife, Debbie, in this standing room only crowd at Timber Lanes, an establishment of 48 lanes, very attractive spot, made more so by the many live roses. And Moser against a tough opponent, Mark Williams, who gets his first strike in 5 frames. There you see the story. Williams by 1, and probably we should point out that there are other cities in America that are called the City of Roses, like Tyler, Texas, and Richmond and Linton, Indiana. But they really grow them here, Bo.
I agree, Chris. It's a beautiful town. Williams with a chance to take an 11-pin lead.
And with a 3-10 split, let's replay the stroke.
Chris, and it was his stroke that got off. His swing bounced out a little bit, left the 3-10. As you said, 2-1 for the pros in the last match. We saw Jeff Morin leave it a couple of times. He finally made it. Let's see if Mark Williams went to school on Morin's shot.
Boy, impressive 23-year-older from Beaumont, Texas.
Boy, there's a well-practiced young man. He makes the shot nice and relaxed, doesn't jump on it or anything like that. A lot of confidence. You can only get that from good form and a lot of practice. Moser trails by 1 pin.
At their option, they can wear a wireless microphone. Paul has one on. Let's see if we can get anything out of him. Very businesslike, up to the line, striking in the 6th frame, his 3rd of the match.
Sellout crowd we have at Timber Lanes this week. Start on Tuesday, down to the last 3 bowlers here Saturday afternoon. Paul Moser hasn't won in 3 years. His opponent, Mark Williams, in his sophomore year on the tour, not eligible for the Firestone, going at it head-to-head, 1 pin difference, 7th frame.
Needs the double right here. Important double now for Paul Moser, who finished 2nd overall, as we look at the way other folks finished this week.
The stalker in 7th place. Earl Anthony just missing out. Ted Hannas, who is 24 years old today. Mark Roth, David Houston nearby. Greg Damascus up there. Henry Gonzalez will be in Colorado, his home area, in 4 weeks.
Look at that youngster come through. A strike, a conversion of a 310, and a strike now in the 7th frame.
2 of the steadiest, 14th and 15th, Berardi and Robinson. Arnie Goldman, a lefty up there. Ernie Schlegel, the defending champion, $1,400. Eddie Ressler Jr., who will be up in Seattle near his new wife's home. Roy Buckley up there. David Frame, left-hander Steve Westbrook for nearby Cottage Grove. Boise Hoover from St. Louis. Alvin Liu, and steady Sam Flanagan.
Colorful Sam Flanagan.
You bet.
Well, it's amazing how they fall.
Williams gets a really good break, runs a little high, and then trips him right out. Retains his lead in the match. See the 2-pin go to the sideboard, drive out the 4 into the 9. Put the pressure back on Moser.
It's like some of the fir and pine trees in the area. Timber.
Wow.
Yes.
So that's a 3-bagger for Paul Moser of Somerset, Massachusetts, taking a 9-pin lead, and by far the best match of our 3 games thus far bowled in our live coverage from Portland, Oregon.
And the best we've seen Moser be out there in the last couple years. He's aggressive, confident, going after the opponent, not sitting down there and waiting for the opponent to make a mistake. He's on the attack. Can take a 19-pin lead with 1 more strike here in the 9th.
Using only about 12 feet of the approach. The lefty to the line on the left.
Yes. Come on.
Well, 4 in a row.
Determination, confidence, and good execution. Moser gets a break, knocking out the weak 74, driving in at 7. Has really put the pressure on young Mark Williams. First time he's been pushed. Let's see how he reacts. Needs a strike here to cut the lead to just 9.
Double working. Oh, yes. And watching and also practicing a little harder is Bill Spigner, the tournament leader, who will meet the winner of this game.
Mark Williams, who is reacting to the pressure with perfection, drove it right solid in the pocket, all 10 pins in the pit. He comes up to the 10th frame. He determines his own fate. He can shoot 236. He's got a turkey working. He needs a strike to take the lead. He now trails by 9.
Nearly crossed over, but he left the 3-6.
Got a good break. He didn't get the split, but it's most important that he convert this and get a good count. He will still force Paul Moser to mark with a spare and a good count. Cross lane for the 3-6 spare. Watch how he kills that ball. Doesn't want any break. Just touch the pins.
All right.
Looking to the left and look at the scoreboard, he knows the best he can do is 214. That would force Paul Moser to mark in order to go on to the championship round against Bill Spigner. Just a good count. He needs at least 8, 9, or 10. They're all the same.
Mark Williams, who won the last game 234 to 166 over Jeff Moran, coming through in the clutch. And let's see what Moser, who has been a PBA member for 6 years with 2 PBA titles. He has a 4-bagger working, now shooting in the 10th frame.
He needs just a mark. A spare will win the match. He cannot afford an open. He would lose. away.
Oh, and what a task assigned as a result of that.
Disaster has struck, the 4-6 split. Moser has to go for this. Look at this, right through the heart of the lane. He must make this split to win the match. There's only one thing you can do. You got to go back and throw it as hard as you possibly can, hopefully to bounce it out of the pit or slide it over. Moser has to make this. What a turnaround, Chris.
Moved way to the right of center now, the left-hander. Here it is. Well, he went for it. He wanted to slide that 4 over and get the 6. Williams with a 2-14. And what a heartbreaking loss for the man who hasn't won, Paul Moser, in 4 years. But what an opportunity for the non-winner. Mark Williams goes into the final, where the winner will get $12,000. 214 to 209.
Okay, we got it. Great shot. You got me. Come on, Slowpoke. It's Miller time.
When it's time to relax, Miller's got the beer.
Don isn't too good at making breakfast, but last night I gave him an A in English.
Use English leather and get an A in the kind of English they don't teach in school.
I've been to school for 20 years.
But tonight he'll get an A in English.
I speak few words of your language.
That doesn't stop him from getting an A in English.
A plus.
Get an A in English with English leather. After-shaven cologne for men.
American Banks in Trouble. A special report Monday on ABC's World News Tonight.
Hi, folks. This is Loretta Lynn. Thanks to you all for going to see Sissy Spacek play me in Coal Miner's Daughter. And you can see me play me this week right here on this station. I'll be singing and joking on a hee-haw, and you all watch.
Join Buck and Roy with their guest Loretta Lynn on Hee Haw this Sunday night at 5:30 right here on KOBI.
See Close Up, the drama of the wild. Don't miss Wild Kingdom, Sundays on KOBI 5M.
PBA in Medford, Oregon uses these translators to enhance our viewing area.
Beaumont, Texas, 23-year-old Mark Williams now has won 2 games, a 214 to 209 win over veteran Paul Moser, earning him the right to go into the finals against Bill Spigner here at the Timber Lanes in Portland, Oregon. Reached the point where we have our Rolaids tip of the week. And Nelson Burton Jr. will help your game if you watch and listen, because today the topic is how to find your strike line. Here it is with Nelson Burton Jr.
The Professional Bowler's Tip of the Week is brought to you by Rolaids.
My tip today will help everyone increase his strike power. For your strike ball, the lane can be divided into 3 sections. One will fit the amount of hook that you naturally play. The red zone between the first and second arrows is the one recommended for the straight ball player. From this area, he can get the angle to the pocket necessary to strike consistently and avoid pocket splits. The white zone between the second and third arrows is ideal for the medium hook player. This allows him to play the high friction track area and still have pocket control. The blue zone, located between the third and fourth arrows, is for the wide hook player because it keeps the ball from hooking too soon, but still allows for power and control. Regardless of your style, there's a zone on the lane for you to throw strikes.
The New York Stock Exchange. When people here get acid indigestion, and you know they do, they can't just stop. No wonder so many people take Rolaids, the tablet that gives millions 100% relief. Like a sponge, Rolaids antacid medicine consumes 100% of the acid required to give millions 100% relief. With Rolaids, you can keep going. Rolaids. Rolaids spells 100% relief.
And now in our live coverage from Portland, Oregon, we've come to the championship match, head-to-head. This is the tournament leader, Bill Spigner, now bowling out of Chicago, Illinois. Going against Mark Williams, who won 2 games, 234 to 166, defeating Jeff Moran, defeating Moser, 214 to 209. Almost got the 10 on the left lane. Bill Spigner, 31 years old, a 6-footer, 180 pounds, 8-year PBA member, and he has won 2 titles.
Chris, he's bowled so well all week. Steady, kept the ball in play around the pocket. Just outclassed the field here. He just slowly pulled away. He was never headed in the last 8 games. Just rolling that ball medium speed, using accuracy and good time.
All right, marking with a spare in the first frame of the title match, worth 12 to the winner, 7,500 to the runner-up or loser. Well, today Mark Williams has not lost. He has 2 victories, which should give him plenty of confidence, and he's young enough he shouldn't tire.
Good shape. He's also not eligible for the Firestone Tournament of Champions.
Elbow, like your tip, he has found the strike line.
Mark Williams just rips the rack apart. This is the shot the pros like so much. Keep the ball light in the pocket. Go against these polyester bowling balls against the plastic pins. That's definitely your best shot. Keep it light. You don't want to get high like Moser did in the 10th frame. The chances of avoiding the split are very difficult.
Pin on the left lane.
We could see the higher percentage on the light hit. He carried the light hit in the first frame. He went just a hair high in that 1-3 pocket. 4-pin did not trip out. 2-pin goes to sideboard. It has to go between the 4-7. That time he didn't get the good break.
From Chagrin Falls, Ohio, our scorekeeper today is PBA titleist Mike Durbin. So it's a strike and a spare for Mark Williams, the non-winner, against Bill Spigner.
Confident Bill Spigner. He's in good shape. He trained hard, he said in the break. He is so disciplined with that bowling ball in his hand. The key to Spigner's lead here was really just a good, steady concentration, sets his position, and maintains that form.
And this time, the right lane, a 10-pin.
The identical shot he had in the first frame, the weak 10 or the half 10, where the 6-pin does not drive into the 10-pin, but it's an easy spare for the pros. And when you're around that position, you're not getting in trouble because a little more break to the left that's solid, a little lighter, you rip the rack. So Spigner with 2 excellent shots to start the match.
And Barbara Spigner. Oh, just covered the 10-pin. Barbara's smile of relief. We asked Bill earlier, he didn't have a great winter tour, how he explains the turnaround.
I came out in the winter with a lot of bowling balls, and I drilled out like 40 bowling balls in 6 weeks, and I was having a lot of trouble, and Carmen Salvino told me to stay with 1 bowling ball and practice with that and get my game in shape, and that's what I did, and it seemed to help me out an awful lot in getting my game steady.
All right.
And steady he's been. Right in the pocket the first 2 shots, 2 spares.
All right, Bill Spigner with a strike in the 3rd frame now can take it easy, and Mark Williams, the non-winner, 23 years old, is up. Williams opened with a strike. He has a spare working. Now he's shooting in the 3rd frame of our championship game. Beautiful. Powerful strike in the third.
Williams has been steady. He went solid in the pocket in the third. He was light in the first frame, just ripped the rack open. In the second frame, he went just a little high on the left-hand lane. Both players have been in the pocket all 6 shots. Williams 1-pin lead.
Boy, the 23-year-old Texan with a double. Now an 11-pin lead in the championship game. It will continue following this message.
Introducing the Cutter, Black & Decker's most powerful string trimmer yet. The Cutter powers through grass, powers through weeds. And with the Cutter's command feed, just the touch of a button keeps the string at its most powerful cutting length. The Cutter, with command feed from Black & Decker, it can cut the time of trimming your yard.
Boy, Art, I painted this last year, and it's already faded and rusted.
Well, if you'd used Rust-Oleum, you'd be getting ready to putt, not paint. Right, honey? Mildred swears by Rust-Oleum.
Rust-Oleum Special Primer penetrates rust and drives out air and moisture. Then the Rust-Oleum top coat forms a weather-tough bond that resists fading and rusting.
Gotta go.
Can't let the old game get rusty, you know?
Skip work next year with Rust-Oleum this year.
ABC's live coverage is from Portland, Oregon, the City of Roses Open. We've reached the championship match. Bill Spigner of Chicago, the tournament leader, so he's just been waiting while we had 3 other games bowled. The winner of 2 of them is 23-year-old Mark Williams, Spigner's opponent. Trailing by 11, he has a strike up, can cut it to 1. All day you've been hearing a noise after the release of the ball. It's the foot kicking the ball return on the part of the pros.
Spigner with just an ideal 5-step delivery. Everything in good position. His shoulders back, just at the point of release. Now watch his right foot come around and kick the ball return just as he lets go of it. It takes a lot of concentration, a lot of discipline to make a good shot after that happens. Spigner is truly a good winner out on a tour, Chris. He has that good determination, and he doesn't let anything get away from him. And for the first time in the match, he has a chance to take the lead. He trails by 1, double working.
Shooting in the 5th frame now. Mixing enough to make it a 3-bagger. And taking the lead for the first time, leading by 9. But that can come back. Williams will be up.
The wall shot, the bowler's best friend. The head pin goes to sideboard.
So they have matched 4 in a row. Spigner and Mark Williams in the championship game. The winner to get 12, the runner-up 7,500.
Spigner with that experience and power tears the 5-pin out, drives it in the 7, extends his lead, extends his string to 4 in a row, and he only trails by 1. Seesawing back and forth, Chris.
And Spigner asked for a re-rack on the part of the tournament director for 20 years, Harry Golden, and gets it. Now, shooting in the 7th frame, Bill Spigner. Temporarily, we lost the audio portion of our coverage from Portland, Oregon. And I assume and hope that we're back with both picture and voice.
Chris, this is a pivotal frame. I think whoever strikes in this frame will go on to be the winner of the match.
Bill's wife, Barbara, loved it. 5-bagger. Now, Mark Williams is up with 4 in a row, trailing by 9, shooting in the 7th frame.
He's never been there before. It's his first chance at a title. He's going against a great champion, Spigner, who has really put the pressure on him. If Williams can respond here in the 7th frame, it'll be a great tribute to this young man, regardless of what the outcome is. What a bowler.
Spigner, along with most of us, realizing that this boy has got it.
Well, he came from Texas and he came to play. He hasn't said much to anybody all week, and his bowling ball is sure doing the talking right now. What a match, one of the best we've had all year.
A World Super Featherweight Championship fight coming up next on Wide World of Sports, 5 Eastern and Pacific, 4 Central. Cornelius Boza Edwards of Uganda going against the #1 contender, a veteran, Bobby Chacon. Great fight.
Boza Edwards with 23 KOs. He's going to be tough.
Well, left a 3-pin. His string stopping at 5, but he put them together when he needed to. So now Spigner has a 5-bagger, and when he's up, he'll be shooting in the 8th. Meanwhile, important now to cover the 3-pin.
The match will be all even.
Woo! Broke at the last minute, catching the 3. All right, Spigner. 5 in a row. He opened with 2 spares.
Bill Spigner, who will be expecting his first child along with wife Barbara in August, traveling together out on the tour, is looking for that title with this shot right now. He's all even, 5-bagger working, could take a 10-pin lead.
Well, we're glad our telco video and audio switching problem has been cleared up, because we're live in Portland, Oregon. 8th frame, Spigner. High hit. And we have a 3-10. And
the farmer Barbara Urbanik watching her husband work out there. Barbara, who quit a job as the staff photographer of the Chicago White Sox to follow her husband out here on the Pro Bowlers Tour, did not like the results of that shot. Spigner must convert this to stay within 2 pins.
Frustrating game, especially when you're a professional making a livelihood at it.
Both these players bowling an excellent game.
Pressure competition here in Portland, Oregon.
Spigner's bowled so well, Chris. He trails by 2, and you know, we said he's using a little less ball speed. The average speed that the winners have been using during the winter tour this year has been between 18 and 19 miles an hour. Spigner, with that speed around 17, has a little better chance of carrying the strikes when he hits the pocket. He strung together 5 in a row to prove that fact in this match, but he still trails by 2.
Expectant parents, Barbara and Bill Spigner. 9th.
Boy, did he throw that one good, Chris. You could hear that ball out there on the lane. He just put everything he had on it. His best shot of the match just drove all the pins straight down. Mark Williams does have that 2-pin lead, but must respond. Spigner is still in position to shoot a 2:57 game. Williams going at a 2:39 pace. 9th frame.
Pin on that right side.
The first solid tap we've seen this young man have. He drove it solid into the pocket. The 6-pin flies around the 10. Watch the 2nd pin on the right-hand part of your screen just go right around the 10-pin. Bingo. Up there right around the label, never had a chance. If that pin had been a little lower, it would have hit the belly and been a strike.
Cross lane. All right. So in a very, very close final match as they're bowling for 19,500. 1 pin.
Have the possibility of a tie. But no matter what Williams does, he leads by 1. He cannot shut out Bill Spigner. Spigner can go 257 if he strikes out Williams. The best he can do is 248, but he still has that lead. 1 frame left.
Another 10, this time on the left lane of this championship pair.
Back-to-back solid 10s. If you analyze the game, both players have missed the pocket once. Spigner in the 8th frame. Williams in the 8th frame. All the rest of the pocket shots have been in the pocket. Once again, the solid 10. Williams going at a 237 pace. Spigner at a 237 pace.
remember Mark Williams, a non-winner, 23 years old, from Beaumont, Texas. Shot a 234 to Moran's 166, and then defeated Paul Moser, 214 to 209. And this is the final game of the 19th City of Roses Open in Portland. Even.
Regardless of the outcome, Chris, this young man has to be proud of his performance.
Leaving a 4-7. And for Mark Williams, a 235.
Spigner with a strike is the winner. He needs spare 9 or a strike, and he wins the match. Barbara Spigner knows the scores. Billy taking a little extra time.
Got a great shot there of our tournament director, Harry Golden. Busy man for many, many weeks of the year, but when he gets a chance, he hits the golf course. Plays the game well.
Was quite a bowler in his day, too. Once bowled on the Pro Bowlers Tour. But the situation for Spigner now, after he had a little rest there, taking his 1 re-rack he was allowed for the game, needs a strike to win, or spare and 9. Look at Barbara in the background. Look at those eyes.
Leaving a 245.
A spare we haven't seen all day in all the 8 games played. Nobody has left a 2-4-5 combination. Chris, cross lane, remember, it's quite slick. Could be a very tough spare for Bill Spigner. He needs to convert this and get 9 to win. If he converts it and gets 8, we have a tie.
All right, he did his first chore. Marked with that spare, and looking at that overhead score sheet, wife Barbara, he has to get 9 to win. 8, and we have a tie.
The crowd knows the situation. There's a quiet murmur going through. 8 to tie, 7 is disaster, 9 or 10 are winners. One of the really good clutch bowlers on the Pro Tour, Chris. I expect this ball to be solid in the pocket for all the money.
Led the last 3 sessions, our tournament leader.
Be there, ball!
And that is the way to do it. And quickly up to congratulate him was a fine young bowler, Mark Williams. A 239 to 235, only 4 pins. And down goes Barbara to congratulate her husband. We'll return after this.
Here they come, and we're out of road.
But not out of luck.
Yes, we still have our Granada.
And our wrecking canoe steering.
Deep seats.
Steel-belted radials.
Tuned suspension.
Our McPherson struts.
For a ride like Granada, McPherson's got something to strut about.
Seems the loudest noise in this car is him.
Granada, built with a commitment to quality from the world of Ford.
STP, a big name in racing for nearly 20 years. STP oil treatment on the track in some of the world's most expensive engines. Around the track, around the world, every day, tens of thousands of people get STP oil treatment. Get it for your car. Satisfaction guaranteed. Around the track, around the world, STP oil treatment is #1.
You don't need a haircut, Jim. You need Brill Cream.
Brill Cream?
Sure. Your hair is short enough, but it's a mess.
It sure is.
Brill Cream's so concentrated, just a little dab keeps hair healthy looking and in control all day. Look, I'll put a little dab of Brill Cream here. Nothing here. See? Even with the hair blower, the Brill Cream side doesn't fly around. Without Brill Cream, hair flies around. Terrific.
You're right. With Brill Cream, a little dab will do you.
Next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, Cornelius Boza Edwards defends his WBC World Super Featherweight title against the #1 contender and former WBC Featherweight champion Bobby Chacon. Plus, women compete in one of the most demanding motorsports in America. It's the U.S. Women's Motocross Motorcycle Championship. Next on ABC.
Mark, you bowled a great match. You came down to, like the last couple of frames, it was all even. You're bowling against great champion Bill Spigner. Bill's been in the winner's circle. Really, what was going through your mind when you came up in the 9th frame? The match was just about even. With one more strike, you would have really put the pressure on him.
Well, I knew if I could have struck out in the 10th, I would have locked him out where he couldn't have beat me. And I just wanted to keep the ball in play, keep it off the nose. That was the main thing I was doing all week to get to where I was, and I got it into the ball track where I needed it, but it just did knock the pins over.
Okay, you left the solid 10 in the 9th frame. Once again, it came up in the 10th frame with a double. You could have really put the pressure on Spigner. Another solid 10. What went through your mind is, I know first place making the spare was important, but how about the total score?
Well, I knew I needed a strike on the field ball to make him strike the first shot to beat me, because a spare and a strike would have tied, and I was concentrating just as much on the last shot, and I just threw it a little bit slow and went through the nose on me.
Well, if you had got a strike on the last ball, we would have had a tie. Now, Spigner bowled so well. You know that experience comes through, and I'll tell you, he bowled a sensational match. It has to be one of the greatest matches that we've seen all year long. A 235 match for you, and it was just sensational. And I know that your parents and everybody back in Texas has to be proud of you.
Yes, sir. I told my mother I'd say hi, Mom, so hi, Mom, and hello, Beaumont.
Okay, Chris, he did a great job. Back to you, partner.
Tremendous final game, 237 to 235, and this is the way they finished in the City of Roses Open in Portland. Congratulations, Bill Spigner.
Thank you, Chris. I don't know what to say. I'd like to thank everybody here, and it's nice to have my wife out with me. It makes a lot of difference, and everybody here at Timber Lanes has been great to all us bowlers over the years, especially Kenny Agawa, and I'd like to say hello to my mother and father and my sisters in the hospital and my other sister at home, too.
All right, you spoke of Ken Ogawa. Look what he has for you. First of all, roses and on the trophy, and I know you're eyeing the check for $12,000. Ken, you make the presentation.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Bill, it gives me great pleasure to present you this City of Roses trophy from Timber Lanes and a check for $12,000. And congratulations to you and all the 5 finalists with you. And I guess your wife will be getting the check, Bill?
Yeah, you might have to her instead of me.
Well, to pacify Barbara for a moment, Frank Esposito, our television coordinator, has a beautiful bouquet of flowers. Frank, is your cable long enough to bring that in? Look at this bouquet in the City of Roses. Oh, it's so green and beautiful in Portland. One final quick comment, Barbara.
I'd like to say hello to my sister who happened to break her leg on Monday. I know breaking a leg is good luck, you say it to theater people, but she didn't have to go all the way. And also to my uncle who just got out of the hospital with the liver surgery. So hi to everybody at home.
Well, I'm going to be careful with this family. Everybody's got, whoa, but you're winners, and good luck with the baby to come. We got to go now. See you later. Bye-bye. Bill Spigner has won the City of Roses Open, 237 to 235 over a game. Mark Williams. Travel arrangements made through a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United flies more people to Hawaii than any other airline. That's what friendly skies are all about. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports.